ENG300, my name is Citlali Ramirez, and for my final project, I will be discussing America Has a Problem, Racism's Triumph at the Grammys. This presentation will follow a similar format to that of my Unit 2 project, starting with a table of contents so my audience can follow along. I will discuss 7 subtopics being the Grammys, Beyonce, Why Her, Jay-Z's speech, Styles' 2023 win, Album of the Year, and my concluding statement. First, some background on the Grammys. They held their first ceremony May 4th, 1959, have grown to celebrate 94 categories, and they have a different voting system in comparison to other award shows with a pre-selected group of musicians, producers, and engineers voting for their respective fields up until nominations and ultimately the winners, which I thought was interesting because then these outcomes fall on those who misuse their voting privileges. For those that live under a rock, this is Miss Beyonce Knowles Carter, who is one of the greatest musicians of all time. Previously, she was a Destiny's Child turned soloist and now has 8 studio albums and held the most grossing tour record in 2023 with $579 million for Renaissance. So, why Beyonce? She became the most decorated musician of all time last year, earning her 32nd Grammy, and truly, it's nearly impossible for someone to either not know who she is, know at least one of her worldwide hits, or her angelic riff on Drunken Love. Beyonce's discography represents a figurative door to her life, letting the beehive into her personal life, as our class got to see with Lemonade at the time of Jay-Z's affair, along with strong visuals of feminism with Worcestershire's poem For Women Who Are Difficult to Love, which I absolutely loved as a first-time viewer, in addition to much of her work being tributes to figures in her life, like her uncle, who she's referred to as her godmother, while celebrating Black and queer communities for her Renaissance record, and simply growing as an artist, exploring and expanding different genres of music with widespread success, which is an absolute honor and treat to witness in real time. And I say this because she's not like a big portion of musicians nowadays who shamelessly put out music for profit. She remained one of the few who thoughtfully craft their work, standing for important causes. If there's one thing Jay-Z has done right, and I say one thing because we know this man has wronged her, it's his call out at this year's Grammys. When receiving his Global Impact Award with his daughter Blue Ivy, he utilized his designated speech time to address the blatant discrimination with the actions taken by the Recording Academy, such as the relegation of rap, which is a Black-dominated genre, to the untelevised pre-show, Black artists being snubbed time and time again to their white counterparts, and finally, Beyonce ironically not having won Album of the Year despite being the artist with the most Grammys. For the most recent snub, Vulture.com's Justin Curto took it upon himself to offer a new perspective on why he believes Harry's House beat Beyonce by stating that Harry's record was in the Academy's sweet spot, by stating it resembled this 80s pop rhythm that captivated voters, or his inescapable year with his hit album that had a hold on the charts, specifically with As It Was because it logged 5 separate runs on Billboard's Hot 100 from its debut in April at number 1 through September, making it one of, if not his best year since leaving One Direction in 2015. And then Rolling Stone fueled the fire by claiming he was the world's most wanted man because of his world tour Levantour and film Don't Worry Darling. And finally, Curto implies that it might be too late for Beyonce to earn Album of the Year, having the number of wins she has. basically implying that her record might just be enough. However, these snubs represent much more than a gold plated award going to someone else. In this particular case, I know my focus is Beyonce, but being realistic, the attempts to justify these robberies by trying to reason with the Academy like Curto did is becoming unbearable and tiresome. As Vox.com's Lee Zhou pointed out, in 60 years of Grammy Awards, only 11 have been Black Album of the Year winners, with only 3 being women. The last time a Black woman won Album of the Year was actually Miss Lauryn Hill in 1999, which was 25 years ago. And then there was the statistic discovered by USC Annenberg students that claimed that Black artists made 38% of the Billboard's Top 100 charts between the years of 2012 and 2020, and roughly 27% were Grammy nominees for the Big Four awards, which is crazy. And Travis Scott, another Black artist who's having a great career thus far, called out the Grammys during his performance of Fiend by saying, "They slept on me 10 times." So, again, this is a shared feeling. And just for perspective, Joe mentions how Taylor Swift collected her 4th Album of the Year win last year, meaning she officially has more Album of the Year Grammys than all 3 Black women together, which is appalling because although Taylor Swift isn't directly to blame because she's a brilliant lyricist, the Academy is due for some change. Finally, Album of the Year is the most prestigious award of the night. So, what does this say about her having the most wins in history without this award? Is her work insufficient or unworthy of this achievement? The answer, I believe, is the Academy being reluctant in giving her her overdue flowers. Very rarely do we see someone like Beyonce and they deny her the most rewarding accolade year after year, and there's always a weak explanation follow up that just cannot continue. For more context, the 4 times she's been nominated for Album of the Year throughout her career, she's lost to white artists. Taylor Swift's Fearless in 2010, Beck's Morning Phase in 2015, Adele's 25 in 2017 against Lemonade, which even she said was monumental, and Harry Styles in 2023. And although this project focuses on the Grammys, there's been other award shows like the Billboard Awards, the Oscars, and the Emmys who also snubbed Beyonce that have upkept these tendencies, blatantly being racist on the world's biggest stages by refusing to celebrate Black artists and cause. And it's honestly incredibly saddening to see in this day and age. So here's to hoping for more accountability and for Black artists to get the recognition they deserve at next year's Grammys or other award shows because we know it's been a long time coming. Thank you so much for listening.